everyone. Welcome to the Quest Show. I am kind of on time. It's 8:03, so that is not too bad. This is going to be a special edition because look who we have in the house.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, it's my boy Brian Run. Can we call white people boys? Without
Yeah, I don't give a that shit. You can call me whatever you want to. By the way, B Run is what I'm known as around here. So,
let's start calling you B Run. Hey, it's Brian. Brian, if you don't know, if you only watch the Quest Show or stumble upon here on Thursdays and you don't know about the other show on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock, it's the Black and White Show. Brian and I do together.
yes.
So that's where you can get us together.
Right? At least twice a week. You get Lana twice a week. Right. You get me at least once. And now right. Lana's invited me on tonight. And I get twice. And I had to rep the Celtics again tonight.
I mean, good for you. I have to get some Celtics gear. I'll work on that. But this is a special edition. And 100%. Brian is joining me here. So we don't have to wait until Tuesday to talk about this big news day today. Although Brian and I do have issues around like these news cycles and talking about the same thing over and over again. But I think this one is worth talking about.
No question.
Yeah, before we get into the show, please share, like, subscribe. Thank you, everyone. I am at 502 subscribers, and it only took me like years to get there. I will say I am very lazy at uploading shows, so it's not my own fault. But thank you, everyone, for subscribing. So, Brian.
Lana. Yeah,
I'm not organized, but I will say we're here today because Trump has been found guilty on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. So before there's some other things that I want to talk about, but just give me your initial feelings first, and then I want to go backwards and say how we got here.
Right. So the initial feelings, of course, when it leads up to stuff like this, because naturally, like we all do, we freak out and think somehow he's getting out of this, that it's just going to happen. There's going to either be a hung jury or literally, would any of us be shocked if we heard that all 34 counts were found not guilty? I mean, I think that would have been a little surprising.
No, that would have shocked me.
And I think my initial thought was, okay, I think what we're going to see is my biggest fear was a hung jury.
Right.
But my thought was, I think we're going to see at least probably half of these found guilty, maybe 10. But at the end of the day, if it's guilty, it's guilty. So, and the fact that we heard there was a verdict, we was like, as soon as I heard a verdict, I was like, okay, this is good news because there's no chance out of all 34 counts that he's found not guilty. He had to be found guilty of some. And I was shocked, to be honest with you, to find that he was guilty of all 34.
Right. So before I give my thoughts, I want to play one of my favorite vids because I love doing this right now.
Oh, I don't see the videos down here. You've got videos. I love it. Let's do it.
Let's play one. That is my favorite. Has nothing to do with today, but
right. It's fitting.
It's very fitting. But I also do want to backtrack just a little bit because, this week was pretty interesting before we got to the verdict. Like on Tuesday, I think, did they go and start deliberating? It wasn't Tuesday. Was that the last day? Did they rest on Tuesday?
Tuesday was the last day of our closing arguments.
Right. And then Wednesday, they got the directions from the judge and then 2 days to deliberate. Okay, so on Tuesday, I love what Biden and Kamala did, and I don't want to lose sight of the offense that they took on Tuesday by sending Harry Dunn, Michael Fanone, and Robert De Niro down to that courthouse. And not only them, their communications, I don't know if he's the director or who he is. I can't recall.
He actually was probably the best one out of all of them, to be honest with you.
He is the best one out of all of them. And chose this video only because I was getting sick and tired of people criticizing the Biden campaign, not for Robert De Niro, Harry Dunn, and Michael Fanone, but sending someone who works for them directly in front of the courthouse. Because Mika, I don't know, you probably don't watch Morning Joe.
I heard about it.
Yeah, she was upset and felt like it, like, I don't know, demean the court or something.
David Axelrod, too, is another one who had comments about the negativity of it. And, you know, and I know you're going to play the clip, but quite frankly, you know, at some point, the Democrats do need to show a little bit more fight and quit forgetting or quit worrying about the ramifications of it, because they just sit back for the most part. But to see a little bit of fight and just say, look, this clown show keeps going on every day and you guys keep saying whatever it is you want, we're just going to counter it. Now, if the criticism is, did we send the best people to do it? Now, the two officers, I mean, I think they should be able to speak whenever they want to. I love Robert De Niro. I mean, and I love his spunk and I love everything. Was he the perfect person? Probably not. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think it still was the right move.
It absolutely was. I would have preferred just the communications guy from the Biden administration. Yeah. I didn't need, I love that I love Harry Dunn, Fanone, and Robert De Niro, but they didn't have what they needed to have, which was policy, which was, you know, what Biden is working for. And I don't think, like, to say that it's like stooping to Republicans' level, it's absolutely ridiculous, because Biden's campaign people didn't come out there and say, it's gonna be rigged, he's gonna be found innocent. It's got, like, that's not what they did. What they did was, where's the media at? The media is not here where Biden is. Let's go to where the media is and talk about what Biden is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. And they probably should have brought up policy. And I don't know if you're going to play the clip or not. So if you are, I'm not going to bring it up. But do you have anything of the rally that Biden and Kamala Harris did the other day?
We can talk about it, but I do have.
Okay, we'll wait until that clip. So I'll let you get on with whatever it is you need to get on with, and then we'll talk about it when it comes up.
Okay, so let's.
Decided to come here today because you all are here. You've been incessantly covering this day in and day out, and we want to remind the American people ahead of the next debate, of the first debate on June 27th, of the unique, persistent, and growing threat that Donald Trump poses to the American people and to our democracy. So since you all are here, we're here communicating that message, as we will do day in, day out until the debate in Atlanta.
Like, what's wrong with that?
You're right. And I think if they would have played off that more, you know, and played more of the policies and played more of why Joe Biden should be the guy you should be electing instead of covering this clown show every day, and maybe start reporting more of, and since you don't report constantly what this administration has done, maybe we can come and stand in front of the court and do that for you.
Exactly. Like, I just wish the media would shut the fuck up sometimes. Like, it's just like they want it so many kinds of ways, right? It's like they want it where, no, that's the meaning. You can't stoop to their level. But then you also want to say, Biden needs to say this. Biden needs to do this. They need to counter this. The only way you can counter such evil and so many lies is just to get in front of it and be louder. Like, that's the only way to counter that.
Well, Lana, this point too, I mean, we keep listening about these court cases and what's going on inside these trials and the demeanor of the defendant and the demeanor of the prosecution. I look at what the Democrats need to do, and everybody that has on the same side of wanting to make sure that Donald Trump is not the president, is what they need to do is they need to play cool, just like they're in court. If you have problems, then you could say it amongst people. You don't show any kind of disappointment or anything like that in the court, because then the jury sees that, and the jury is the voters in this case. So if we're seeing the voters are hearing that people that we rely on to make sure that we're getting that message out. Not only are they not getting the message out, but they're saying negative things about the campaign. I don't think that that's a good idea. I think maybe they should keep that to themselves and just keep a positive spin constantly, just like we're in court. Keep a positive spin constantly and not show any negativity. Because if you do, then you get the idiots that go share the clips on Twitter and say, even Mika says, or even David Axelrod says that you guys are idiots. And I don't think that that's a good idea personally.
Oh, you're talking about the media, right? Saying the negative things.
Yeah, I'm saying anybody that does not want Donald Trump to be president should not be out in public saying negative things, because we are speaking to, in essence, a jury of people who are going out to vote. And at some point, if some people that are on the fence, which we've talked about before, I don't understand anybody that's on the fence at this point, but if you are, and you hear the people who are on your side saying negative things, that could not be good.
Right. No, I absolutely agree. And I don't understand it. Like I couldn't even, I couldn't do it because it's so funny. My kid sent me a joke today. Like, I don't know, something from TikTok, when a guy was like, because we have a group chat, interviewing someone, I don't know, like, and he's like, who would you rather vote for? If you had to vote for someone or one or the other, Trump or Biden? And then the guy said something like, I just let the gun go off. Right.
What does that even mean?
I guess like he'd rather kill himself. Like if someone had a gun to your head and you had to vote for one. I didn't hear him ask the question like that, but I guess that's how the guy took it. Like if you had to do it, then just shoot me.
Well, I'll tell you, those are the voters that we need to speak to, because if even those people, even if they're saying neither one of them are good, I think it's easier to explain to them why one is better than the other,
right.
Rather than, than accepting the fact that he hates both candidates. This is obviously somebody who's not very well informed.
But that wasn't the point. So the point
there's more to it.
Right. No, the point was how we were talking about not being able to say anything bad, or not saying anything bad, because it's so important, this election, that my kids sent that because they thought it was hilarious. One, it's not funny. Yeah. Two, they were like, watch mom get upset about this. Watch her not think it's funny, right? So by the time I saw it, and I wrote, I'm like, this isn't funny. Like, your rights are being threatened right now. What is wrong with you two, right? And they're like, see, we told you. Like, they knew that I wouldn't find. I'm like, that it's not a joking matter. Like, I can't see any humor in anything related to this equivalency that people are trying to have. Hi, Michelle.
Yeah, I think that's concerning too, because, we spoke about it before, and I think we're getting to a point where the Trump and the MAGA whole thing has where it used to be sort of an underground thing, now is a normal thing. And you have just regular people who kind of think this is entertainment and it's funny, and they don't realize just how funny this isn't, to be honest with you.
It's not funny at all. So let's go back to how this began. And when I heard that there was a verdict, or even when they started deliberating and when they started asking the questions early this morning, I did think, like, this isn't going to go long. Like, it can't go long, because it was document intense, but not document intense, right? Because I looked at the counts, and the counts were just like the ledgers, right? It was like ledger count 1, that was falsified, right? And it would say how it was falsified. Count 2 was like check stub, right? Like count 3 was like another ledger with the voucher number on. Like those were the counts. And the only thing that was questionable was like the checks that Trump did not sign, because there was a couple that like his son signed. So those are the things that I thought that maybe they would be like, yeah, well, it wasn't Trump. But then, when they found him guilty with count 1 and count 2, which was like it was both Trump and the Trump business.
Yep.
That was like, that's all she wrote. But the proof was there, Brian, right? Like the whole time we're watching or listening to this, I don't know how they would have ever found him not guilty. And I think Trump always relies on not emailing people, not doing text messages. So there's
gangster style.
Yeah, there's nothing really in writing, right? These cryptic phone calls, right? But as they said, the first question today was what? Inference. What is inference? What do we? And they kept saying the same thing. And it is the perfect example. If you freaking wake up in the morning and you see water on the ground all over the place, things are wet. You infer it was raining, right? Like so.
Correct. Yeah, a couple of points to what you said. Well, one of the first things is that I did hear somebody say that if you hear in the first 10 counts, because the first 10 counts were the ones where it wasn't checked, you might hear not guilty on those and it might freak you out. But as soon as you heard guilty on the first one, that's pretty much like you said, game was over at that point. The second thing is that there's been a lot of talk and about how this trial was difficult to understand. And, I admittedly, there are some things that were not the easiest things to understand because there's a lot of stuff. But for those jurors that are in the courtroom every day listening to the testimony, it's not difficult for them to understand. It's easier for them to understand because it's explained to them even more and it's better. And they're focused on every single word of the testimony. Right. So, this idea that, Donald Trump, this is a joke of a trial because nobody can understand it. Well, it doesn't matter if the rest of the country can't understand it. As long as those jurors understood it, that's all that matters. And they clearly understood it.
Right. And they could ask all the questions that they wanted
right.
for as long as they wanted. They got the testimony. They could read the testimony. They knew. And let's not even gloss over Assistant DA. What's his name? Joshua Steinberg?
Steinhauer, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was his closing.
Steinglass.
Steinglass. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was flawless. It was long. How they were reading it out, but it was flawless and it was smart because if you paid just a little bit of attention, this is how it was how can you not find him guilty? The defense was Donald Trump didn't know Stormy. He didn't sleep with Stormy. And then it was Michael Cohen was rogue. He paid her on it. That was their defense, right? So what the prosecutor did, which was great, was he set before they put Cohen on. Everyone wanted to see Cohen. But they set the stage, they set the table. Because you can't eat your food unless you got the plate and you have the silverware. So they gave us the plate and the silverware before they gave us the main course. Yep. And Cohen, he was the main course. They knew he was flawed because the assistant DA said as much. We know he's a liar. Trump picked him. We didn't pick this guy. Trump picked him. Trump picked him because he was a liar, because he would do anything for Trump, because he was slimy. Trump loved that about him. He was with Trump for 14 years? Now he's rogue.
Lana, the perfect example that I've heard of that is Sammy the Bull testified against John Gotti. And nobody thought that Sammy the Bull was first of all, listen to the name, Sammy the Bull. He's not an innocent guy that, so you take that into account. I mean, basically Donald Trump hired Michael Cohen to lie for him. So, I mean, of course he's a liar because that's what you hired him for. The second point is that the difference with Donald Trump, Donald Trump can get away with stuff when there's nobody that can hold him accountable. Right. But when somebody can hold him accountable and there's actual evidence and there's actual proof, that's where he's going to lose every time. But unfortunately for him and his stupid brain, He thinks that the court is the same as public court. He thinks it's, that he's going to make up shit where people are going to, get confused when there's clear facts in front of them and they have to sit there and go, okay, I got to listen to this. And it's my understanding, I've never been on a jury, and I think you work in law it's my understanding that people, when they do get on a jury, they take it pretty fucking seriously. They don't go in there and just say, I'm gonna just wing this. I think most people take it pretty seriously when they get on a jury.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry.
I got a glass of wine, by the way.
Now my phone is going off.
Celebrating.
Pop me all the way off. What was I saying? No, it's definitely true. Like, even if you have, preconceived ideas, of course they don't want you there. But that's the thing, how Trump is like, it's rigged, the system's rigged against me. Like, first, you have the grand jury that indicted him. It wasn't Biden, it wasn't Democrats.
It wasn't even the Department of Justice. It was the state of New York.
Exactly, in the grand jury, right? And then this jury, it wasn't just a state that was picking jurors. It was the defense too. Like, it took longer to find this jury than it did for them to come up with this verdict. Like, correct. Real talk, right? So it was a mixture of people. And this was really an educated one because they had 2 attorneys on there. Then they have like a chiropractor on the jury. Like, they were very educated. But even when you're not, I've gone to jury duty, and like I haven't been picked for an actual case, but I went through the process and then ended up getting, let go. But the judge is really like, just like they said, Judge Merchan was very courteous with people's time. You have to watch, I don't know about any other state, Massachusetts, you have to watch a video. Mm-hmm. And it talks about being a juror and how important it is. It just bigs you up and lets you know that you are doing something that is so important. You are doing a service to this country. So it doesn't matter. Like, if I was on that jury, as much as I hate Trump, I would have done I would follow
what the law said.
What the law said. It's just like I told you, I think when we did the show Tuesday, one of the members of our group wrote, Trump was a drug addict, and I'm like, I hate him, but that's not true. No one has proven that. We can't say that, right? I don't like him, but I'm not going to say he's a freaking drug addict
with no proof. Yeah,
with no proof. That's ridiculous. So no, you're right. They definitely took it, and they were saying like the demeanor of them. They were very serious. They didn't smile. They would come in. They didn't even look. They wouldn't look at the judge. They didn't look like they just really paid attention. So kudos to them. And it doesn't even seem like there was a holdout. That's how good that case was. Yep. And that's the thing, Brian. Trump be out here criming. He's not that good at it. It's just that people are afraid to bring cases against him. And he knows so many people. He's just privileged. He's got judges on the take here. I guess that's not a fact, but come on. We know Eileen Cannon is.
Listen, that's about as positive as something without calling it a 100% fact.
Right.
She is, if if you want to classify it as on the take, then I don't think anybody would have a strong argument against that unless they were just, very, very biased. But you're right. Yeah. I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So was it better that we got all 34 counts found guilty? Is that going to make a difference, or does that matter? If it was maybe 10, would some people look at it and go, it was only 10 and maybe that's not big of a deal? Or the fact that it was all 34 counts, does that make a difference in any voters' minds?
I think that MAGA, they don't care.
Well, forget about MAGA. They're not going to change that.
I was going to say that camp is that camp. Trump was going to spin it. If Trump was found, if it was split, he would have spent it. If all guilty, all innocent, he's going to, spin it the way he wants. On our side, I think that guilty on every verdict injects fuel into our veins, right? It gives us more hope. It gives us more momentum. It doesn't give us that But that's not necessarily that's a trick question, because that's not even necessarily true. Because I would say it energizes us, right? Like that, we're on a roll. Let's get that fucker, right? But then you have people who are like, what's it gonna do? He's not gonna go to jail.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter, right? It jacks up his legacy even more. It's just more stain. We know he ain't going to be buried with the rest of the presidents. We know that. Right. That is what I was gunning for. I'm like, nowhere in the world should he be buried with no other president. Not that they were that great, but it's supposed to be an honor. He does not get that honor.
Yeah, I do hope, because you did see polling that said that if he is convicted of a crime and he is a felon, that could hurt their vote. But, at the end of the day, this country is so crazy now. And the fact that, again, we're comparing Joe Biden or any other candidate that you want to compare to, if we're comparing Donald Trump to anybody,
right,
that's where I think, we all should still be pretty scared. I know as Democrats, liberals, the left, whatever the fuck you want to call it, or just anybody who doesn't like Donald Trump is celebrating today. And it is, it's kind of feel good at the time, but time is going to go on. And just like everything else in this country, people forget about shit. And it's kind of a shame, because I hear people all the time going, do we still need to remind people of 4 years ago with Donald Trump? I'm like, I don't understand how people don't remember how just awful he was, especially in this COVID response. That is really the reason why he lost, because if he had handled it or COVID never existed, there's a good chance he probably could have won again. So he lost because of COVID. And to say people don't remember what happened 4 years ago, I'm like, what? How is it that hard to remember?
Your kids suffered. You lost family members. How did you?
Right.
How are you forgetting? Someone said to me today, well, gas was only $1.90. I'm like, nobody was driving. That's why.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we talked about that on our show the other day, is the perception that the economy was better under Donald Trump than it was under Joe Biden. And it's just ridiculously not true. No economic expert would come out and say that that the economy. Now, of course, we still have high interest rates. We have that. It's not because of Joe Biden. This is not difficult. If anybody has a conversation about the economy and they still ignore COVID as a factor of this economy, then there's no sense in having a continued conversation with them. The inflation rate went up to 9% under Joe Biden, but the inflation rate came all the way down lower than anybody else in the country or in the world. Lower than, we are the envy of everybody in the world, our economy right now. And if Joe Biden, if it's his fault for the inflation, then why didn't the inflation stay at 9%, or why didn't it go higher? It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And prices are high because everyone is buying the food, the goods, right? Everyone is buying the goods. Why? Because wages are up. And that there lies part of the problem. They almost need wages to stop growing.
Yeah.
So people can
stop working.
Right. That's exactly what they need. They need unemployment to tick up a little bit. They need wages down a little bit. And then inflation will start going down. But then people will start bitching and moaning about, no, the unemployment is like, they'll complain about everything else. So it's like,
there will always be something to complain about. Now, I did hear, you saw that Target is lowering their prices. I believe Walmart, Aldi. So you see a lot of these are starting to lower their prices, which I said from the beginning, when I saw Target do it, I said, watch, this is going to have a little bit of a snowball effect. And when other people start doing it, because it is competition at this point. And if you have somebody like Target lowering their prices, the other ones are going to go, oh, shit, now we got to do it. And I think, and I hope right in time for the election that this puts us where we need to be. And that's a good step. I mean, it's not a done deal, but the fact that we have major grocers lowering their prices is going to, I believe, help us get under that 3% mark and maybe closer to 2%. Hopefully.
Because we control a lot of it, right? We think that is Biden, but it's kind of not him, because you're asking him for growth in all of these areas, and all that growth is going to come with some inflation because airline
absolutely
tickets, people are traveling like crazy. Like wages are really doing pretty good right now.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say there's also, a fear that if Donald Trump does become president, that actually inflation will get worse, because he is going to cut taxes. He's going to extend the Trump tax cuts that happened when he was president, and maybe even drop them even lower.
Yeah.
And then there was something else that I read that people were afraid that the inflation will go up. Damn it, I just had it in my head, and I'll remember it here in a second. But there are people that are afraid that Trump is not going to be great for the economy if he becomes president.
Yeah, he's not, and we'll talk about that in 1 second.
Yeah.
Michelle is in the chat.
Yes.
She said, she's in the YouTube chat, and I'm still on StreamYard. Okay, that's why. Very true. I served last June and felt so proud, and the judge made it feel like I was doing something great.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
And it's true. Did you get put on the actual case? Because I never get that far.
Right.
Like, it was a med malpractice, and the judge was like, and I do insurance defense, like straight. I've been doing that for years. I haven't worked on the plaintiff side of things like over a decade. I've
never been on a jury.
Right. So when I talked to the judge, and they want, and I knew, and I'm not trying to be funny, but like there was a Black woman there, and it was taking so long, like she didn't come back after lunch. And I heard like the what are those the clerks asked like where the person was, and I'm like, God damn it, she didn't come back. So they're going to be looking at me upside my head, because they need a diverse jury, because it wasn't really that. It was me, an African-American woman. There's an Asian woman there. I think there was a Black guy. So everyone else, they need, and I'm like, dang, they're going to have me. And it was like in February or something, right? It's because they were talking about the snowstorm was due and how long the trial was going to be. And they may need to close. I'm like, if you had daycare issues, like they were asking those questions, man. When I went up there, I was like, I don't know if I could be non-biased. I'm like, I do insurance defense. I'm like, they are who I work for. So to look at this plaintiff and say that he was possibly right, and even though he was dead, it was like the estate. I was like, I don't know if I could do that. Yeah. He started asking me questions, and then he dismissed me because the plaintiff counsel was just looking at the judge like, that's a no. We're not telling you she can't do it.
Yeah.
So let's before we move on, I did want to just give a shout out to District Attorney Bragg, because he did the damn thing when people said that this was the smallest insignificant case. Why didn't he do it before? Why did he wait so long? Just all of those things. And it's like, this is the law, right? He may have had a case, but he may not have had a felony. He was probably waiting for a piece, that conspiracy piece. He had to have the conspiracy piece, because, falsifying your business records is not a felony unless there was a conspiracy and that scheme, right? to hide it from the world, because he wanted to be elected. So not the world, I guess Americans.
Yeah. Kind of the world, because the world covers him just the same way America does.
True, right? So maybe they needed that piece to be able to do that. So shout out to Bragg, because he also got him for that tax case too. So Bragg's out here doing it. Shout out to the assistant DA for flawless case, flawless ending. Shout out to the jurors that took this shit seriously and did this stuff in 2 days so they can go on home, spend their Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with their family. So shout out to them. Shout out to Hope Hicks, who cried on the stage. Let them know that she still loves the Trump family.
But I'm going to tell the truth.
I'm going to tell the truth. And I don't know Michael Cohen to want to give up anything without some credit. So no way he would have went rogue. So that was that. Shout out to Pecker. Another one.
Right.
He didn't want to do it, who is Trump's friend, but had to tell the truth about their meetings and what they were doing. So shout out to him. Shout out to Keith Davidson, the attorney.
Yep.
Same thing. Trump's friends, but they had to tell the truth. So shout out to these people who came and they really told the truth, and shout out to the judge, because even under the duress that he has been under, he didn't show it. He told the jury when they went in the back, if my facial expressions showed you, or you thought that you got something from a facial expression, you did not. I don't have any skin in this game. You do what you have to do. Don't let my exasperations or my size, tell you anything. You do what you have to do. Under his family getting death threats, his wife, his daughter, like all brag right now, like right after this, he was getting death threats. So shout out to these people who's like, I'm just doing it anyway, so.
And I think it's important to point out once again that, people can keep calling this like political witch hunts, but everybody that testified against Donald Trump were people in his own circle, people that work next to him, people that work for him, people that have always been around him. So, that's something I'm tired of. And before you move on to the next subject, I remembered one of the reasons why the inflation would be higher under Donald Trump is because what he'll do is he could fire Jerome Powell, put in a Fed chairman in there to basically do whatever it is he says to do. And he'll cut interest rates when right now is probably, as much as I would love to see, he'll cut them down to a point to where people will start spending again at a time we don't need to have it spent. And the inflation will go up. It won't go down.
Right. Exactly. You thought the cost of houses was high?
Right.
What did you think is going to happen?
It won't be good. I truly believe that. I just don't, it'll be a very bad time. And, but
yeah. The other thing that makes me kind of sad, like this was a good day. It really was a good day. I don't want to be excited about it too much because we have work to do. Mm-hmm. We still have to vote. Chances of him going to jail, I don't know if, Marshawn is going to say.
I don't think he's going to prison.
Which he should have some home confinement, because we see that Marilyn Mosby, who took her own money out of her retirement, has to do 3 years home confinement because they're saying like she lied to take her own money out of her. Like,
the only thing that gives me a tiny bit of, and I really think I'm putting this from what I thought was 1% to go to prison to maybe 10%, is that he was found guilty on all 34 counts.
Right.
That's
or
the
home confinement,
only.
Right. Maybe
what's that?
Home confinement. Like, I don't know prison, but maybe they'll do some type of.
They got to do something. Because what's the point of doing this? What was the point of going through all this if there is no punishment towards the crime? It would make no sense.
Absolutely agree. But the piece that saddens me too is that, I'm not big on like, oh my God, the justice system, because the justice system has never been good to Black people. When we got convictions on Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd, that like brought tears to our eyes.
Yeah.
But Trump is like, he's just staining it, right? Like he is just, because it doesn't go in his favor, he is just everything. Judges are rigged. Police are rigged.
Election is rigged.
Elections are rigged. The court system is rigged. It's like, and it's hard to fight against that when you have that huge segment of the population who really thinks like you can rig a jury. And it's so crazy.
And an election.
He
said the one he won was rigged.
And it's so crazy. And Trump is such a lunatic that when the jurors were deliberating, in my head, I'm like, I wonder, did he get to them? Because if it wasn't so secure, we would not have gotten these 34 counts guilty.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a hung jury, or they would have just left it alone because they would have been terrified.
Yeah.
But because coming into this, they knew that they had to protect these jurors. They had to be protections. They had to put the gag orders where he couldn't talk about them, say their names. Like, all of that had to be in place so that he didn't corrupt them. Like, he didn't scare them to death, because if let loose, he would have.
He would have done the gangster mobster thing.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have, but he would have had his goons do it.
Exactly.
But there was another thing that I was seeing, and Democrats, left, whatever you call it, I don't know, but whatever it is, don't freak out over this. But a lot of people are like, oh, anywhere where you can donate money to Trump, the sites are they're breaking down because so many people are going on there. Who cares? Let them get suckered into giving that guy money. It doesn't matter.
Oh my God.
It's sad. They'll do it today, because first of all, they were going to do it anyway.
It's on Memorial Day. He's like, Happy Memorial Day. And then what was the next sentence to the scum?
Oh, it was a long, whacked out,
like a whole rant. It's like,
yeah.
He's so disrespectful. But Michelle said, do you think any Republicans will walk away from him now? No. I don't.
Well, does she mean Republicans in office, or is she talking about voters?
I don't know. Michelle, which one? I think she means in office, but I don't.
In office, definitely not. 100% no.
They wanted the guilty, though. Nikki Haley was crossing her fingers for that. She's crossing her fingers for jail time for him. They all are secretly, except for Marjorie Taylor Greene.
They don't love him. They really did. There are some sycophants that they'll bow down and they do love the guy. But there are the people like a Ted Cruz, who don't love Donald Trump. They don't. Marco Rubio doesn't love Donald Trump. These guys don't. But what they do love is they love the power, and they love, the future of what the Republican Party could look like, and they want to be part of that. Now, the sad news for them is they don't understand. They don't have the same charisma as Donald Trump. They could not pull off what Donald Trump can pull off, because Donald Trump legitimately doesn't give a fuck. He does not care. And again, I don't think he's smart enough to understand what the smarter people who plan on implementing these things like Project 2025, I don't think he understands. I think he's just somebody that'll be like, yeah, just do whatever. I've got the people in place. You guys handle it. I'm going to go play some golf.
Right. She means in office. Yeah.
In office, no chance. No. These are people who are going to try to, they're 100% going to try to get money off of this and
yeah, they've already
campaign off of it.
Yeah. Because I always say, like, if they didn't leave Trump when he had dinner with Nick Fuentes, the Nazi, they didn't leave Trump when he said, find people on both sides. Mm-hmm. They didn't leave Trump when he accused 2 Black women of ballot hustling, when he said whatever he said about Jewish people. Like, it just goes on. Like, this is just
good people on both sides.
Like, this man is just a raging racist bigot. They're never leaving him.
They had the opportunity to. Yeah. They had the perfect opportunity to get rid of him. And I think somebody like Mitch McConnell's looking back and going, God damn it, we should have fucking did it. But I can say F on this show, right?
Yeah, he fueled the whole insurrection.
Yeah.
So he's not there. They're okay. They're just okay. They've already sold their soul. They're just
now it's too late. They're all boxed in a corner, and they have to. They have to bow down and do it. And that's exactly why Nikki Haley said, I'm going to endorse him, because if she did not do that, that was the end of her political career. And she does not want that. But you're right. She wants him to go to jail. She wants him gone. But as long as she could kind of stay in the spotlight and say, I'm going to hold my breath and endorse him, that means I still have a career. Hopefully we can get back to some sort of normalcy, which again, Nikki Haley, I'm not a big fan of either, but
Yeah, I mean, they too. I don't feel bad for Nikki, but I understand what she was going to do. She was never not going to support him. She had to endorse him. She had to say she was going to vote for him, even if she crosses her fingers and don't vote for him, really. But she has to say that she is, or like you said, she doesn't have a career. Me, I don't give a fuck about that because I am not going to support a racist bigot and rapist, and if he's president, women will have no rights, like that. So you're thinking about your career over Americans. That's a problem, Nikki Haley. So let's move to Alito. So
Jesus Christ.
Alito said, I ain't recusing myself from no case involving J6 Donald Trump immunity. I don't care what y'all say, because my wife put up that first flag and the second flag. I don't care. I don't care.
And do you know why he's saying that? He goes, I don't give a fuck because you people can't do shit about it. There's nothing, zero that you can do about it. And I'll laugh in your faces about it.
He is. He said, my wife is a private citizen and possesses the same First Amendment rights that you do. She makes her own decisions.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, she can make her own decisions.
Sure she can. So can Clarence Thomas's wife.
Yeah, but ladies, y'all out there,
yep.
No, you can't make your own decisions.
They'll make the decisions for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He can't make decisions for his wife, but he's making decisions for y'all's wives.
Well, in this day and age, Lana, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. He said no. The Democrats wanted to meet with Roberts. Roberts is on the same team as Alito. Why did they think that Roberts would ever want to meet with them? Roberts is like, no, you're nobody. You're Congress with the Supreme Court.
So one thing I'll admit, I don't know the full dynamics of everything, but I see a lot of people online going, okay, so they're saying you asked for a meeting. They basically told you to go fuck yourself. So now it's time for a subpoena on this thing. And, it's time to get them to answer and hold them accountable. Now, again, I don't know how they hold them accountable and what the process is to get them to do that. And I think some of them are like, yeah, we could do that, but where does it go? And if it goes nowhere, then it's just another one of these things where we have egg on our face and there's really nothing we could do about it. So if there is something that can be done, I'd love to know what it is, because this is insanity. This is egregious. It makes no sense that people are just clearly getting away. Donald Trump, because of this Supreme Court, because of these fucking judges, he's going to get away with the fact that he caused an insurrection and that he stole classified documents and that he tried to do election interference in Georgia. He's going to get away with all three of these things if he wins. If he doesn't, he still might get away with the classified documents case, which is fucking crazy to me. It drives me insane.
It's like the Constitution needs to be rewritten, because there's no way that a convicted felon should be able to run for president. But he can run for president because there's only 3 rules for becoming a president. Yep. Being over 35, being a U.S. citizen, and living in the U.S. for 14 years. Like,
how about he can't vote for himself?
In Florida, he can.
No.
No, they said it. In Florida, he can vote.
I think if you're what you have to serve your time first in order after you serve your time. Or so what they did here in Florida, and this is what Ron DeSantis, why he's a fucking idiot too, is so they passed that law here in Florida that if you are a convicted felon and you served your time, you're out of jail, you can now vote. So you had people who were going to vote. But then they threw this rule in and said, well, if you owe any money, you didn't pay the state, then you still can't vote. Right. And they found a little loophole in order to do that. But Donald Trump, there's going to be time when he's not going to have, his time is not going to be served by the time the election comes up. So he won't be allowed to vote until he serves his time.
Are you sure that he can't petition Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis allows him to do a workaround, allows him to vote because he is running for president and a candidate. Because it's Ron DeSantis. It's not.
I mean, if you're asking me, is it possible that Donald Trump can call Ron DeSantis and them two can get together and say, fuck it, we don't give a shit? I absolutely believe that could happen.
And to be honest,
under the law of the state of Florida, you can vote now as a felon, but you can't do it while you're in jail.
Right.
You have to serve your time first, or you have to pay your fines, or whatever the case is. And, I'm guessing Donald Trump's time will not be served by the time we get to the November election.
I mean, his one vote doesn't even matter anyway.
No, it doesn't. I just find it ironic and funny.
To be honest with you, I doubt if he votes for himself regardless. I think he just goes there, makes a show just to get the attention.
Oh, I don't know. I think that's the only person he does vote for. I don't think he voted for the governor. I don't think he voted for DeSantis. I don't think he voted for any. I think he just goes in there, clicks for himself, and then gets the fuck out of there. You remember when he was running against Hillary? He had to look over at Melania just to make sure that she was voting for him.
Oh my. These people are too much. So anyway, yes, Alito is just a MAGA. So we have a MAGA on the Supreme Court. And once again, that is why we say that you cannot sit this out. Why it's like the most important. It's the most important because the last one, it was really important. But this one, rights have actually started to be taken away. Like you can actually see it. And you can see the corrosion of democracy, like or the erosion of it. Like you can see it. They have it written. Check
clearly
out Project 25. Go and read it. It's highlighted. I should have popped that video up there because this guy was just telling you about it. It's there. So
I asked a MAGA person the other day. I asked him if he even knew what it was. He had no clue what it was. And I was like, wow, that is shocking that you have no idea what Project 2025 is. He said, never heard of it. I was like, that's concerning.
Yeah. For anyone,
I don't think that would change their vote. I think it would probably enhance their vote because it's basically, these people who are phony Christians and they're going to want to turn this country into a gigantic church.
And they're not even religious. That's what kills me because they're not, like you said, they're not real Christians. Like it's not even like they would turn this country into a real church. They're not doing that. They're turning it into some.
I should say, far right wing church is what I mean. Like one of them batshit crazy ones.
Right. It was just a regular church. Maybe it wouldn't be awful.
Right. That I don't disagree with.
Yeah, this is just some horrible. And if you don't know what Project 25 is, we urge you to read it or just get some cliff notes of Project 25 for Dummies because it really is something to behold because it outlines what Donald Trump and Republicans plan to do once Donald Trump is sworn in. It's enacted immediately. Immediately, he's going to start deporting people. And it don't have to be just the ones you think are running over the border and then sending them back. No.
Just so you know, on there, they have training courses. They have where you can go on there, you can apply to be, part of this whole thing. And they are going to put extremely far right, unqualified people in positions that will do whatever the people behind it tell Donald Trump to do. Because I've said before, Donald Trump's not smart enough to do any of this on his own. Donald Trump is somebody that goes, you guys just tell me what you want to do. We'll implement it. And as I said earlier, I'll just go play golf. I don't give a fuck what you guys do. Just as long as I'm president, I don't go to jail and I get all the credit for everything. That's all he cares about. That's it. He doesn't care about policy. He doesn't care about helping the American people. You probably saw the clip where the one guy says, why are you voting for Donald Trump? And his answer was, I've never seen a president hug the American flag. And that means a lot to me. And I'm like, people just aren't paying attention if that's the reason why you're voting for somebody.
Somebody hugging a flag. Yeah, whatever. I would think something's wrong with that person if they're hugging a flag.
Like, you don't have to think something's wrong with that person, Lana. That is confirmed. Something is wrong with that person if that's the reason why you're voting for somebody.
Let me tell you, Donald Trump is going to pardon all the insurrectionists, and then he's going to put them into the military, into post in his administration. They're going to be security and bodyguards, and it's going to be open seasons on Black people, Latino people, women trying to leave the state to get abortions. They're going to be bounty hunters. Y'all think he's playing? It isn't right. And stop it.
I got more news. Oh, I'm sorry. Real quick. I got more news. There are some people who are voting for Donald Trump that don't even particularly like him. But they're doing it because they hate liberals, and they've been programmed to hate liberals and Democrats so much because they think their only agenda is to make sure that a boy plays girl sports. That's what they think.
That's what's making them mad.
Yeah.
Not their Social Security that may be taken. It's like, oh my God, is that boy using the girl's bathroom or that girl using the like?
And it's not happening either. It's just so insane. I had a buddy of mine send me, but he's this MAGA idiot. I grew up with the guy, so I've known him for a long time. And you don't want to see our text messages back and forth because it is the most vile, awful thing you will ever see to each other. But he's trying to send me that Florida passed something where girls can't play and boys can't play in girls sports. I'm like, oh, that's going to affect the one boy that wants to play girls volleyball. Good for you.
Like, seriously.
Yeah, great. You guys win.
Oh my God. Meanwhile, let's check out what Joe and Kamala over here doing.
There we go.
No longer be included on your credit score.
This is big.
Wait a minute, let's go back because that happened way too fast.
Are now making it so medical debt can no longer be included on your credit score.
Can we just pause?
Yeah.
Because everyone look in that background.
Yep.
This is not AI generated. This is actually Joe Biden in Philadelphia among real Black people.
How about they're not planted there either?
They're not props. They're not holding props. He didn't pay them to come in. It's not an AI generated photo like Trump in the barbecue that's going around town right now. This is real. This is them on the ground in a battleground state.
Yeah.
Amongst Black people. This is what people have said that they needed to do. And we agree. They need to get in here and tout all of the good things that they are doing for the Black community, because there are things that are going on. Like, he's given more money than anyone. Donald Trump used to be like, I gave all the money to the HBCUs. No, you gave what was freaking earmarked by the government to the HBCUs. Like, you wasn't given any more, but Biden actually has gone over that amount and given to the HBCUs. So let me just go back here. I'm sorry. Like,
No.
It's ridiculous. People don't pay attention. Everybody pay attention. Kamala speaking.
So that medical debt cannot impact a person's ability to get a car loan, an apartment lease, or a home loan.
Lana, can I make a point there?
Yes, go ahead.
So this is what they call the BFD, a big fucking deal. And I'm going to explain why, especially somebody that's in the mortgage industry.
Take it away.
So the fact that there are so many people, when I pull credit, I pull it all the time. And there are so many people that have medical debt on their credit, and it hurts their credit score. You know what else is on, especially in a college town? There are student loans out the ass on these credit reports. And that certainly can hurt your ability to get a home loan as well. And of course, as we all know, the American dream is to own a home in this country, to own a home. And to get rid of student debt and to get rid of these medical bills that affect your credit score are two things that are going to help an otherwise person to be qualified now to buy this home. And that, again, is a big, big deal. But you know what? We don't we don't look at it this way anymore. We just look and see who's funnier or who talks more like a professional wrestler when they talk up there. And it just makes it's very frustrating, but this really is a big deal. And the fact that a lot of people eventually are going to be able to get a home loan now because they're student loans. And I think most people with student loans know that this was Biden, but I don't think a lot of people are going to know about this, this credit score deal. But it is a big deal, and it is going to allow a lot more people to get in a home that otherwise would not be able to. Absolutely. And he's also looking to give $10,000 in tax credits to new home buyers, by the way.
Right, which was something that they were doing before. I think it's interesting because I remember this. Bush had it, but you had to pay Bush's back. I remember that. He gave you some money if you were a first-time home buyer or something like that. You had to give it back. Obama had it. You didn't have to give his back. So I'm glad that Biden is. Yeah, what did Trump do? Like, again, people, all Trump does is go, I did this better. I had a better government. I gave Black people more jobs, but he never gives you any type of proof. There's no data. There's no charts. There's nothing, but everyone listens. But these people actually tell you exactly how we're doing it, what we did, how much we spent, and everyone is still like, Trump is better for the economy.
Yeah, I made the point the other night when we were talking is that we have a lot of intelligent people out there talking and getting messages out, but we need some, and I said it maybe the wrong way. We need not dummies, but we need people that appeal to quote unquote dummies. And when I say dummies, I know I'm being facetious in a way, and I'm dressing it up to be funny, but I'm talking about less informed people. So there are plenty of outlets for less informed people that think Trump is awesome, but we need, sort of, and I brought up the Paul brothers, Jake and the other Paul guy. I heard him bashing Donald Trump. If there was more of those kind of guys that were out there bashing Donald Trump, or at least saying, this is, that could help. But the unfortunate thing is that I don't know how in tune they are into politics, and B, they're the ones who get sucked into the Trump thing, thinking it's funny, and that's the part that sucks.
Right. They think he's funny. Meanwhile, he's dangerous, right? He's just dangerous. But let's wrap this up. I have a few funny things to show because we just, it's good to have funny, because one of Donald Trump's major supporters, she's about to just flip her lid and write crazy stuff. So I just love it when people make fun of her. So let's watch people make fun of Marjorie.
I love it.
Because
transphobic, cute clown insurrection Washington for your offensive style, and I don't just mean those shoes. Can't you fight for what you believe in without all of the insulting personal attacks and spitting?
Well, I would ask the same question to the other side, because all they've done is insult me nonstop since I've been here, Leslie. They call me racist. They call me
anti-Semitic, transphobic, cute clown insurrectionist, science denier, bleach blonde, bad-built butch body.
I didn't intentionally style myself after President Trump, but I can see how people draw those similarities. We both come from the same industry.
Bullshit.
Construction.
Oh. Right.
I also have pretty much a plain speaking style.
You don't seem to let your critics bother you, and I say brava.
I don't let name calling bother me or offend me. I just don't.
Well, I applaud you. I don't believe anyone deserves to be mocked or insulted, no matter how bigoted or reprehensible they themselves may be.
Yeah.
Except for sometimes.
Okay.
Look at me, I'm MTG. Wowsy with stupidity. Trashy as hell, I can't math, read, or spell. Oh well, I'm MTG.
I'm not going to do the whole thing.
Bonnie, there are some people that just deserve the constant. This is the same woman that was chasing a teenage kid after his classmates, and just, horrifically trying to shame the kid.
Yeah.
And there's nothing about her that is redeemable. So anything like that, I have no problem.
Oh, she's getting it. I forgot to put up another video. She was in the airport right before
I saw it.
Yeah, the spring break, and a woman walked by.
I loved it.
It's like, good. That's what you're going to get. But
there are people that you could just say, fuck you to, and she's one of them.
Yeah, she's awful. But the moral of the story, everyone, thank you for being here, but we really do need you guys to pay more attention to what's happening in the news. Your children, you really have to teach them what's going on because, truck trials, it's over. Let's get focused. Republicans are still out here banning books. Ron DeSantis is saying there's no climate change. He's taking that out of your law books while your insurance companies are fleeing the state. He's saying, there's no climate change. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Which is infecting insurance rates like crazy here, by the way.
Right, exactly. And if other Republican governors start doing that, it's just going to be a mess. And it's going to happen, right? They do the things, they kind of like dip their foot in the water. And if they don't get a big pushback, they just keep going. Just like no one paid attention. Greg Abbott just pardoned a guy who murdered a Black Lives Matter protester.
Correct.
He just murdered him in cold blood. Murdered. And he wanted to murder a Black Lives Matter protester because his text messages and tweets and everything else, his whole social media was saying that that's what his intention was doing. He was talking about going somewhere, going to Europe and killing Muslims. Like he was a nut. Jury of his peers found him guilty. I think he's serving a 20-year sentence, a 20-year life or something like that. Greg Abbott is like, I think I'll pardon him.
That really is just kind of a slap in the face, and he knows what he's doing when he does that. And like I said, these people are reprehensible. I mean, these are people who make a hero out of Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, Kyle Rittenhouse has his mommy drive him to whatever state he drove him to shoot somebody, and now he's a hero and he's speaking at CPAC. I mean, this kid is a fucking idiot, and he is a main speaker at a Republican convention. This is how stupid that we've become as a society.
We idolize. I mean, we're calling insurrectionists hostages, but that just goes in line with how nefarious it is what they're doing. Like it's deeper than what we even think it is, because if we have them pardoning known racists, Nazis, bigots, skinheads, these are the people that they're letting out of jail. Why are they letting them out of jail? Because again, it's going to be open season. This is on purpose. Why else would they be letting criminals out of? They literally letting criminals out of jail.
Yeah.
So pay attention. And I'm going to end with this cute video because if we all had this kind of energy, we would be doing well in November. So
let's do it.
I'll let him tell you guys what you need to be doing.
Becky Evans, you messed up putting your propaganda. Becky Evans, you messed up putting your propaganda mail in my mailbox. You really messed up here. No, over here we're supporting Sarah Draper for re-election. Get out of here.
Love that kid.
We need kid. That kind of energy with Joe Biden. Give me this Trump propaganda. What is this?
Get the hell out of my house.
Yeah, he got on this Biden Harron t-shirt. That's the energy we need. This is a young kid. He probably ain't more than 12 years old telling us how to do it. Come on, y'all.
No question. I mean, it's a smart kid. And, back to what you were saying, I think obviously the people that watch this show, the people who watch our show on Tuesday night, I don't think we have an issue with them, but I think if anybody out there watching knows anybody that is just kind of on the fence, or you just forget about, because I think you and I talked about this before, if you're wearing a fucking t-shirt and you're flying a flag, it's not even, they are who they are. You're not going to change them. But there are people out there, their minds can be changed if you do it in a manner that is not insulting and and make sense. And really, this is easy to make sense out of.
But I just feel that Trump supporters don't care about pocketbook issues, kitchen table issues. They care that Trump is going to poop on the people they don't like. Like, that's what's most important. They want Trump to inflict pain on the people that they don't like. They're racist, they're bigoted. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if Mexicans aren't in this country. Let Trump get rid of them. They're taking my jobs, which they're not. But like, I don't think they don't care. You may get a few who are like, and they just don't know. But that's probably a small group of people.
That's what I said. I think the MAGAs are a lost cause, and it's probably not even worth trying to get them. But as you said, they say they don't care about the table kitchen issues, but one day they're going to, and they're going to be hit in the face. And quite frankly, I'm not even going to be in the mood to say I told you so, because I'm going to be fucking pissed off too. And the I told you so's at that point will give me no satisfaction, quite frankly, because we're still going to be in such a shitty situation that, and part of it is because we had way too many people who were not informed enough to make a decision that was logistical and make sense for them and for the country. They made a decision based on, unfortunately, what is cool in this country now is trolling the other side. So it's a weird dynamic.
Ugh, such a mess. Anyway, we are going to close out because Brian and I could talk forever, as
no question,
on the Black and White Show. So you can catch us on Tuesday at 8 p.m., the Black and White Show. We go there at 8 p.m. Brian don't play that. He don't do that in time. It's like, you gotta be on time.
It's just something I've always had. I've had this thing of just always, like, if a movie starts or I'm going to a game, I have to be there on time. And that's not for everybody. If I'm not telling everybody they have to do it, I don't look down on anybody that doesn't do it. I just have I had this thing in my head. It's gotta be on time. I don't know if that's good or bad thing.
No, I like being on time to the movies and going out and things like that. Like, I'll freak if reservations are a certain time and we're running late. Here, I'm just like, yeah.
Well, I get it. Like I said, if we were on our show and we were running a few minutes late, that wouldn't drive me crazy. But, for the most part, you and I are always on at least 5 to 10 minutes before the show starts.
Yeah.
So we have our little conversation and then we just go. So.
And that's why we end up running late. But sometimes it's technical difficulties. But anyway, check us out on Tuesday. Next Thursday, I will not be here. I will be running a 5K. Michelle, awesome. 5K. Lawyers have a heart. So I know Michelle in the chat. She knows about that. Are you going to be there? Let me know, girl.
Come on, Michelle.
Yeah, come on.
You got to be there.
I'll be there. So
we have game 1 of the Celtics NBA.
No, I think it's at 6. I'm gonna try to get home by halftime so I can watch it.
Let's do it.
Go Celtics.
I loved being on. Thank you for inviting me, Lana. I liked being on this side now. This time I didn't have to start. You did your thing and I was able to respond off of you.
Yeah, it's different, right? You have to be like,
good.
You have to tell yourself, like, shut up, shut up, shut up.
No, I was gonna say, I'm just gonna wait until you were done talking, and then once you were done, I was gonna see if I can find a lane in there, and if I did, great. If I didn't, your show.
Nah. All right. Thank you, Michelle, for popping on. Thank you, everyone else. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate it. Appreciate you, Brian. Talk to you later.
You're the best, Lana.
Bye.
Bye.